That's right. It is Friday, and it is April 26, 2024. If today is your birthday, as always, happy birthday. And here are some celebrities that share a birthday with you. Actor Channing Tatum is 44 today. Actress Jordana Brewster turns 44 also. Actor Jet Li is 61. Carol Burnett is 91 years old today. Happy birthday to Carol Burnett, her 91st birthday. Superman Tom Welling from Smallville is 47. Wrestler and mayor of Knoxville, Kane, Glenn Jacobs is 57 years old. Kevin James turns 59. Former First Lady Melania Trump is 54 today. Holy crap, Donald was a cradle robber. And Joey Jorgensen, rest in peace to him. He passed away in 2021. Today would have been his 49th birthday, I believe, because he was born in 1975. So he would have been turning 49 today. So happy birthday to all of them. And if today is your birthday, of course, happy birthday to you. It is a Bears Victory Friday, and it's not even the season yet. And we are in a Victory Friday. Of course, yesterday was the big NFL Draft, and that was round 1. Of course, rounds 2 and 3 are today. And then tomorrow, Saturday, is rounds 4 to 7. But if you're a Bears fan, I think that really it all culminated last night, when we had the first 2 out of 9 picks for the draft last night. I don't think people are as big and excited on today. We don't draft until number 75, which is in the 3rd round. And then tomorrow we have pick number 122, which is in the 4th round, and then we're done. We're done all the way until next year. Unless, now, here we go. I was looking last night, and Ryan Poles owns 9 draft picks for next year. 9. And that's huge. And actually, let's go over what draft picks he has, because there could be a chance that he may wheel and deal and get into the 2nd round today. It can happen, and it's happened before. So, let's see what happens with that. It could happen. I doubt it. I think he's pretty much content on what he's done already and what he's got left for this year. There's still free agency that's still going on. Obviously there's still free agents out there. People are going to be getting released, and everything in the preseason and stuff. He could pick up guys there. He could still trade with other teams if he sees players that he feels fits the holes that he will still have after the draft. A lot of it's going to see what he's going to do after the draft. With 2 draft picks, you can go defensive line and you can go offensive line. Hopefully he's not going to go get another corner, do something like Ryan Pace would have did with it and said, I had a big first day and now I'm just going to go and do whatever with the last 2. Hopefully, but I believe that Ryan Poles is very strategic when it comes to what he does. And that's why we saw the draft play out the way it did with the Bears last night. I think everybody's pretty excited. I mean, I'm sure there was players that you wish came here. Brock Bowers, a lot of people wanted him. Some people wanted a defensive end, like Dallas Turner, who ended up being there at number 9, which we'll talk about that. That was a big shock. I was very surprised with Atlanta. Atlanta shocked the world last night. I was watching Twitter. There was not one person who saw them going quarterback with the number 8 pick. Nobody saw that coming, especially now that they got Kirk Cousins. You got Big D Kurt coming in there. Why do you really need Michael Penix Jr.? But look, I guess maybe they feel like, who knows, Kirk Cousins may only last a few more years and then retire, so then you'll have Michael Penix come in after. We'll see what happens, but Atlanta shocked the world last night. It was crazy watching 6 quarterbacks go within the first 12 picks. That's never happened. The first 3 were all quarterbacks, which we knew. We knew that coming in. I actually was 8 for 8. Or 7 for 7 going into. My wife was very enthralled, watching me, how do you know all this? Because I study this stuff. I do this on my podcast. I watch a lot of the NFL Network and ESPN. I read a lot of articles. I watch 20 million friggin' mock drafts for the last 3 months since the Super Bowl. So, it's you kind of get to learn the players and you kind of get to see what they did. I watched a little of the combine that was going on and stuff. So, I'm pretty versed in football. I watch it. I love football. I study football, and stuff. And some people might say I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'll say you don't know what you're talking about. You know as much as I do. You know as much as some of these analysts do. I mean, honestly, it's all just a guessing game. You guess who you think that the players are going to go to. I'm pretty sure everybody knew Caleb was coming to Chicago. But let's talk about what the Bears have in draft picks for next year to see if possibly we could move into the second round or maybe a fourth round or fifth round pick, get some players this year. But let's see. I think that I know what Poles is going for with this, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's see what they got left for draft picks. All right, so here we go. Here's what the Bears have left for next year. This is what they got so far. They have a first-round pick. They have a second-round pick of their own. They have a second-round pick via the Panthers. So we have a first-round pick and 2 second-round picks for next year. We also have a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, a fifth-round pick, 2 sixth-round picks. The first one is theirs, and the second one is via the Dolphins. And then we have a third sixth-round pick via the Steelers that we traded for Justin Fields that could turn into a fourth-round pick for next year. So we have a ton of picks at our disposal right now. Do we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks? Probably not. You don't need that many picks. If the Bears build a team that can win 10 games this year, which I believe, looking at that offense, we can win 10 games. We won 7 with less, okay? And everyone knows that. We had less last year, and I'm not even talking quarterback-wise, because Justin Fields, to me, I'm excited about Caleb Williams, but at the same time, I am still sad that Justin's not going to be here, because I believe that Poles finally did what no GM in Bears history has ever done, and that's built a winner for a quarterback. It's very rare that that happens in Chicago with any sport, that we build winners. Okay, we built a winner in the 90s for the Bulls. They built a winner in the early 2010s for the Hawks. We built a one-season winner for the Cubs. They built a one-season winner for the White Sox. So, I mean, we've had winning teams here, but we didn't build winning teams for like basketball since the 90s. We built them in the early 2010s for the Hawks. They won 3. Okay, this is a Bears team that if you keep building towards it, could win multiple Super Bowls. And I know Packer fans, like my friend Corey, who listens once in a while, he's going to laugh. And he can laugh all he wants. Because here's the thing, when we do beat the Packers this year, at least 1 out of 2. And I believe Caleb is going to take 1 out of 2 from the Packers this year. In fact, I'm so confident that if he does beat the Packers in one game, I already put on Facebook, I will paint my fingernails in honor of him because he does that. And I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with these guys doing this kind of stuff. It's a new day and age. People get manicures and pedicures. That used to be considered girly. But nobody has a problem with men going to get manicures and pedicures. When manicures and pedicures first started, it was for women. Now you see the manliest of dudes out there getting manicures and pedicures. I know a lot of them myself that do it. I don't, but I know a lot of people that do. I probably don't because I necessarily can't afford to do all that kind of stuff. So that's probably why I don't do it. But I probably would try it. I don't think anybody wants to see these feet. But they'd be like, clear my afternoon appointments. Oh, we need the grinder. Yeah, you don't want to go and do a pedicure on these feet. But yeah, I mean it's different day and age. But I told people on social media, and I will do this: if Caleb Williams can beat the Packers just one time out of the 2, not a preseason though. I don't know what the preseason schedule looks like. It has to be in the regular season. I don't care about the preseason. We'll most likely see Caleb starting. I think that one mistake that Eberflus made last year with Justin Fields that I don't think he will make again, which I'm sure Poles already said, this is a rookie. You need to put him in the preseason. He needs to play. He needs to get used to the NFL competition, because if he doesn't and he goes into the regular season like Justin did last year, he's going to struggle, and we don't want that for him. We want to build a winner in Chicago for once. We want the fans to have a winner. And I believe that's what we have now. But I did say if he beats the Packers during the regular season just one time out of the 2, I'll paint my fingernails orange and blue for the Bears. So I'll have one orange, one blue, one orange, one blue, one orange, one blue, all the way through all 10 fingers. I will do that, and I'll keep it for 1 week. I'll go everywhere with my nails painted for 1 week, because that's an honor for me to do that for Caleb Williams, because he deserves it if he could come in here and beat the Packers. When's the last time we beat Green Bay? I'll tell you now, we've lost 9 straight. We play them twice a year. Now, I don't know if that includes a playoff. I didn't look that well into it to see if it was a playoff game, and I don't believe it was. I believe that all 9 were regular season games. I'm trying to think, did we ever lose to the Packers in the playoffs in the last 4 seasons and 1 game? Because that's what it was, 4 seasons and 1 game, because we play them twice a year. But I don't believe the answer is yes to that. I don't think we've played the Packers in the playoffs. When's the last time we made the playoffs? We did make them once with Trubisky, but it wasn't the Packers, because we did lose that game on the double doink to Philly. So yeah, no, it was all regular season that we lost. So apparently that season we beat them probably in the first game, and then we lost the second game, and we lost 8 more after that, and that's unacceptable for a rivalry that people love and they put on national TV. The NFL wants that to be, we don't know who's going to win. Is it going to be Jordan Love or Caleb Williams? We don't know who's going to win this game. It could go either way. It could be a back-and-forth shootout between 2 good NFC North teams. This is what we want. My friend Corey makes fun of the Bears a lot, but I can guarantee that he would love to see the Bears and Packers have a real-life rivalry where they play each other and you don't know who's going to win. And it's a shootout between 2 good quarterbacks, because believe it or not, whether you want to say it or not, Jordan Love is going to be a good quarterback. He was good last year in his first year, and he's going to be good every year. It's just what the Packers do. They breed good quarterbacks. You can't deny that Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback for the Packers and Brett Favre. You can't deny that. We're not even talking Bart Starr or any of them. We're talking current, between the 80s and now. What's the best that the Packers have had? 3 in a row. You've had Brett Favre, you've had Aaron Rodgers, and then you've had now Jordan Love. I will tip my cap to the Packers. They know how to build a quarterback in Green Bay. But I don't think you need to build Caleb Williams, because we're giving him the tools from the start to be successful. You don't need him to sit and watch, because now you're giving him 3 amazing receivers. So before we talk about what the Bears did, now, do I think that they're going to trade today or tomorrow? Probably not. I think we're going to stick with the 2 we got. I think Poles is going to use those draft picks as possible trade bait to a team with an established player. That's what I think Poles is going to do. I don't see him getting into the second round. I don't see him getting into the they have one in the 3rd round and then the one in the 4th. I don't see them getting in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round unless he sees a guy on the board who he's like, man, that guy's still there, I want him. But I don't see that happening. I think if he's going to get a player like that, he's going to get one in the 3rd and the 4th round. I don't foresee him going 5th, 6th, or 7th round for that. So I think he keeps his 9 draft picks for next year and uses them as bait for this year. Because if the Bears do win 10 games next year and make a playoff because of the wild card and everything, they're not going to get a good draft pick next year. So that number 1 pick ain't going to be worth much. Okay? It's not going to be a lottery pick. It's not going to be anything like that. So, to me, you can use any of those as trade bait. I'd see how the season goes. Watch how the season goes and see where you're at. Because if you know you're doing good, you can get rid of the 1st round pick. Somebody will take it. Anybody wants to draft an extra draft pick in the 1st round. Anybody wants that. Look at Minnesota trading up twice in that draft. I mean, teams want those spots. So, because they may find a guy at 17 to 20, which is most likely where the Bears would draft if they made the playoffs. And I'm saying if. I mean, we don't know. We'll never know. You just say Green Bay's going to the playoffs. You don't know. You don't know who's going to the playoffs next year. We don't know who's going. But we do know that the Bears have improved their lineup. And I actually watched a Packer fan last night who literally said that, he hates the Bears, obviously, because he's a Packer fan, but he said that team is going to be very high-powered on offense. And he's right. I think he's right. And I think a lot of people think he's right. But we'll see what happens. A lot of stuff can happen from, don't forget, too, you got injuries. Things can happen. So we'll see. But the season, excuse me, I have hiccups. The season does look very promising right now, as of now. And that's on paper. So we'll see what happens. But here we go. So here was the NFL draft last night, round 1. Here's the results. Round 1, pick 1 was obviously the Chicago Bears. We chose Caleb Williams from USC. Number 2 was Jaden Daniels to Washington. Not a big shocker there. I don't think anybody was shocked in that one. Number 3, the New England Patriots took Drake May, the quarterback out of North Carolina. Not a shocker there. I called that one too. Number 4, Marvin Harrison Jr. to Arizona. Kyler Murray needed a big receiver to throw to. He got it. Now, my friend who lives out in Arizona, Ray, he told me last night, though, because he lives out there. Now, I told him, I'm like, you may win some games with him. He's like, slow down, though. The rest of the team's not that great. I don't watch them religiously because I don't live out there. He's a Bears fan, but he most likely does watch the Cardinal games because he has a lot of friends out in Arizona who are Cardinal fans. So, yeah, to him, he probably does cheer them on, and he has the right to do that. If you move to a city, you can still be a fan of your team, but still cheer on the team that's in your city. Now, if you had to move to Green Bay for some reason, that's a little different. I wouldn't be cheering on Green Bay. Number 5, the Chargers went with Joe Alt. Not a shocker from Notre Dame. That was not a shocker at all. I picked that one. I figured they were going offensive line. I knew they weren't going tight end or wide receiver there. So Joe Alt made the most sense. There were other good offensive tackles out there and stuff that they could have picked, but they didn't. Joe Alt's a good pick. Number 6, Malik Neighbors went to New York. We knew they were going to go either for a quarterback or a wide receiver in New York, and they did. They got one of the top 3. I'll say top 3 receivers. I mean, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. was projected to go before all them, and then Malik Neighbors, and then Rome Odunze, and I went in that order. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans. Now, here's the crazy part. There were no trades in the top 9. Crazy. Because usually there is. There's usually a trade. But New York was, and so was San Diego. They were on the phones with possible trade, and stuff, and never took it. So they did say they were on the clock. So was Arizona. They were talking about trading their pick too. And they were on the phones up until they decided, no, we're going to stick with what we got, and that's when they took Marvin Harrison Jr. But they were seeing what was out there. Remember, anything in the top 5 can get you a haul. Just almost like what the Bears got last year with Carolina. Thank you, Carolina, by the way, because we just got a possibly franchise-altering quarterback. I'll talk more about the picks for the Bears after I'm done with all this. Number 7 was the Tennessee Titans. They went with J.C. Latham. I wasn't shocked with that. I called that one. Well, I called a few different ones with that because it's hard to tell. Because there's that position, it could go a lot of different ways. But I did say it last night, and it was right. Now, number 8, nobody saw this coming. A trade would have been less shocking than what Atlanta pulled. Everybody thought Dallas Turner was going. Everybody thought he was going to Atlanta, including Dallas Turner. And I'll talk about that in a minute, too. They drafted Michael Penix Jr. at quarterback, which everyone's like, Kirk Cousins is their quarterback, and they have a backup. But here's the thing. I can see where they're going. Will Kirk Cousins stay there long term with them? So he molds Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., just like Drake May, will not be instant starters. They've already talked about that. Jaden Daniels will, and so will Caleb Williams. But Drake May is going to sit at least a year or 2. They already have a starting quarterback there. They brought him in to mold him. They wanted to do different than what they did because Mac Jones, they just threw him out there to the Wolves. Kind of like they did with Justin Fields. Now, sometimes you have to do that. But if you don't have to, the best way to do it is sit them for a year or two. Now, usually with your number one pick, you're not going to sit them. Okay, if you have the number one pick, they should be instant starter. Usually number 1 and 2 are instant starters. 3 and up, it's a little different. But yeah, Michael Penix Jr. will sit behind Kirk Cousins. I don't want anybody to have all these rumors that, oh my God, Kirk Cousins is going to have to compete. He's not competing for that starting spot. He's going to train Michael Penix Jr. how to be a good quarterback that can win games. Because that's one thing. Kirk Cousins might not win championships, but he does win games. Okay, he did it in Minnesota. I'm sure he'll do it in Atlanta. But yeah, shocker of the night. And I think everybody, including the announcers on NFL Network, were just like, what? It just happened. They were like in shock. Like, Dallas Turner is not an Atlanta Falcon? But yeah. So, all right, so number 9 was the Chicago Bears. Of course, we took Rome Odunze. I was so excited. Now, this could have went any way. There was a lot of guys that could have ended up here, but they didn't. We ended up with Rome Odunze, and I'm excited. We'll talk about the Bears lineup coming up in a few minutes, too. So, all right, so number 10 now. That was a trade. There was a trade at number 10. The Jets were number 10. They traded for the 11th pick, which was Minnesota. They traded back one spot with Minnesota. Minnesota knew who they wanted. My boy, and he's from Illinois, but he's also my boy because was the quarterback of Michigan. Took us to a 15-0 season, 27-1 for his career, and two national championships. J.J. McCarthy went to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I love J.J., but I'm not excited about one thing. Now, J.J. McCarthy being with Minnesota, that is a conflict of interest for me. I love J.J. He's from Illinois, and he was from the college that I would have went to if I would have went to actual real college and stuff when I was younger. I always wanted to go to Michigan, but then I just never did, and I'm telling you now, I can't cheer him on when he plays for the Vikings, but he won't be an instant starter, I don't think. I believe he'll sit too for at least a year or two before he actually starts. He'll start when there's an injury, or he may come in the game if they're winning by a lot or losing by a lot. They bring in the backup. So I mean, he'll play in the preseason, but he's not going to be an instant starter, I don't think. But who knows? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Number 11. Now, this was a shocker, too, because I really thought they were going to want to give Aaron Rodgers another weapon to pass to. So Brock Bowers made the most sense. And they ended up going with Alamawada Fashanu. It's crazy. That's got to be a Hawaiian name. But yeah, so it went to him. I was very shocked they went O-line on that one. But then again, obviously you want to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. He's already got an injury that he's coming back from that's not a good injury to come back from, especially when you're like almost 40 years old like he is. So, obviously you do want to protect him. But who's he going to pass to? And that to me is a big thing. Like, who is Aaron Rodgers going to pass it to? Brock Bowers, I never argued with anybody that said that Brock Bowers is not going to be a game-changing tight end. Okay? He's going to be a possible Travis Kelce, Gronkowski. I mean, he's going to be up there with guys like that. But I didn't want to see him in Chicago because I don't feel we needed him. I'm glad we went with Rome Odunze. And I'll talk about that. There are 2 picks in a couple minutes. But let's go with number 12. Denver went quarterback too. And the NFL Network guys were shocked with this one too. They went Bo Nix. And so Denver now has a good backup. He's not going to be probably an instant starter either. I'm telling you now, the only 2 instant starters that I see will be Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I don't feel any of these other quarterbacks are going to be instant starters. They may compete in the preseason, but I don't think they're instant starters. Brock Bowers ended up at number 13 with the Raiders. So he will be the new tight end for the Raiders. He's going to have a good career. I think a lot of these players will, but we'll see what happens. The New Orleans Saints at 14 went with Talasi Faagu. I don't even know how to say these guys' names. I'm gonna butcher them. So everybody who knows them knows who they are. At number 15, the Colts went with Latu. At number 15. Number 16 was Byron Murphy II, went to the Seattle Seahawks. Now, here was the shocker. I didn't think Dallas Turner would take this long to go. But he ended up at number 17. And he ended up with the Vikings. So the Vikings traded up, I believe they said 5 spots to get that, or a couple spots to get it. So, because the Vikings had 2 picks in the draft, I believe it was. So they moved up again to get it. But yeah, so they ended up with Dallas Turner, and that's good. And that's great for them. They got a good backup quarterback who's going to be a great starting quarterback one day, and J.J. McCarthy. And then they got Dallas Turner, who's going to make a big difference on the edge. I'm upset because I didn't want to see a Dallas Turner twice a year, every year, for however long he plays for the Vikings, but we will. Will he be a game changer? We'll see. Obviously, not every team thought that way, because he could have ended up with Atlanta, could have ended up with Chicago, could have ended up with any of the teams after Atlanta, because that's where he was projected to go at number 8. He didn't go till number 17. So we'll see if that was a blessing in disguise for the Vikings, or if there was a reason that he went that late. Let's see. Number 18 to the Bengals was Aramus Mims. Number 19, another good defensive end went. Jared Verse, he is with the LA Rams. Number 20, the Steelers took Troy Fontanu. Number 21, another good defensive end went. At number 21 to the Dolphins, Chop Robinson. He gets to go play in Miami with the nice warm weather. Number 22 with Philadelphia was Quinion Mitchell. Number 23, a wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. went to the Jags. Detroit traded up, because originally they were supposed to be like 5 spots after this. They traded up to get Terrion Arnold, who I believe is a corner. I don't know all the players later in the draft. I was only studying the top, like, maybe 15 to 20. Let's see. So then the Packers went at number 25 with Jordan Morgan. Number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went with Graham Barton. Number 27, the Arizona Cardinals had another pick in the top 30. And 32 went with Darius Robinson. Number 28 was Kansas City, who I'm thinking traded up, because they originally were like the last one, so they must have traded up. Now, I didn't watch the ending. I stopped at 10 o'clock because I watched the news, and I wanted to see what the Chicago News was talking about with Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze. So I didn't see the last, I stopped watching after the Jaguars. So I didn't see from Detroit down to 32. But yeah. So I'm guessing that there was a trade down with Kansas City to get to the 28th spot to get Xavier Worthy. 29, Taylor Guyton went to the Dallas Cowboys. At number 30, Nate Wiggins goes to Baltimore Ravens. Number 31, Ricky Purcell goes to San Francisco 49ers. And at number 32, the Carolina Panthers. You know what? That was a trade, because Carolina definitely would not have been at number 32. They went with Xavier Leggetti. And I'm telling you, actually the Panthers, wait, did they even have a first round pick? Yeah, they did. They had 2 first-round picks. They gave the first one to the Bears, I believe. So, yeah. So, Carolina Panthers end up with the last pick of the draft last night. They went with Xavier Legette. We'll see what happens with everything, but I'm pretty sure that in Chicago, we are excited. Now, there is some people who didn't want Caleb here, and so, obviously, get over it. Justin Fields isn't here no more. It's just, it is what it is. You can keep your Justin jerseys. You can wear them. I still have mine. I'll still wear it once in a while. But I will be buying a Caleb Williams jersey. Just because I still love Caleb. He's going to be good here. I'm going to get a Roma Dunze jersey. Watching Caleb get picked, to me, I saw excitement. I actually watched back with Fields when he was drafted. He didn't even have that much excitement to be a Bear. And this is coming from a guy who people said he didn't want to play for Chicago and he wouldn't come to the Bears, and his dad said this and blah, 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 and rumors. And this is what, you know what? Rumors are what destroys our society. His dad, I believe, did make a comment, but it wasn't necessarily at the Bears. But he was talking about if it wasn't a good situation for his son, he would go play his senior year at USC. That's a father that's looking out for his son. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I look out for mine. And I would do anything for my son, and if I saw that he was not going into a good situation, I wouldn't want him to go either. But the fact of the matter is, Caleb Williams has never one time said, and even Colin Cowherd got called out for this by Caleb Williams in his camp, when he made that comment on his show not too long ago about Caleb not wanting to go and play for the Bears. He said, whoa, I never said that. I would be proud to go and play for the Bears or any team that drafts me, especially if it's a number one pick. You know, because obviously Caleb could have went anywhere in the draft. I mean, but he was projected number one, but that don't always mean you're going to go number one. But most of the time you do. There was only one other quarterback that the Bears would have went after, and that was Jaden Daniels. That was it. We weren't going after J.J. McCarthy because he's from Chicago. You don't do that. Like, look, Derrick Rose, yeah, you went for him because not only was he from Chicago, but he was a great player. You don't just say, I'm going to go for J.J. McCarthy because he's from Illinois. J.J. McCarthy, yes, he won a national championship last year, but if you look at his stats, he didn't even get to 3,000 yards. And people are complaining that Justin Fields couldn't get to 3,000 yards, yet you're going to want to bring in a quarterback that can't get to 3,000 yards in college? And yeah, now I'll give you this. I mean, I watch Michigan because they're my team. And it is true, were more of a run-heavy team last year. But at the same time, to me, J.J. McCarthy is going to be a decent quarterback that will win games. But I do not see him leading a team to a Super Bowl. I just don't see it. And I've watched that kid in almost every game last year. I watched almost every game. I mean, it's Saturdays. We do stuff on Saturdays. I couldn't always watch every game, but I saw a lot of the games, and I watched all the playoff games. I watched the national championship game. And yes, he is a good game manager, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. I think Caleb Williams will be better, Jaden Daniels. I think even possibly Drake May will be better than him, which they should. They all went before him. They're the top three, so they should be better than him. Now, Michael Penix Jr., I'm surprised that Atlanta didn't take J.J. McCarthy over Michael Penix Jr., but we'll see what happens with all that. I think Atlanta was just looking for a quarterback to back up Kirk Cousins, and who better than a rookie that'll be on a small 4-year deal compared to bringing in a veteran quarterback that will want more money than what you're going to pay a rookie at number 8. So, yeah, I mean, Atlanta was smart with that. I believe that the Chicago Bears are going to be a hell of a lot better. In fact, this is the Bears lineup. And here, this is what the Bears lineup is going to look like this year. And this is why I'm saying I'm excited for this season, because I believe that this is definitely a winning team. We got our 2 tight ends. You got Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, who can both catch the ball, who could both block. And that's exactly what the Bears are looking for. Guys to block for Caleb. Wide receiver room. We've got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and they put Tyler Scott in there. Okay, I'll give Scott. He's gonna get a little playing time. Guys may get a little hurt. Keenan Allen's never played a full actual season, so he may get hurt for a few weeks. So he'll have to step up in there, because Rome most likely will go to number 2 if Keenan Allen gets hurt, and that would put Tyler Scott at the number 3. during that time. Then, of course, Keenan Allen will come back, and then, obviously, Tyler Scott will go back to number 4. There's no way that you're not going to have Rome Odunze at number 3. Rome Odunze is here to be the number 3 and a slot-type receiver for at least a good couple of years. We'll see what happens with Keenan Allen if he signs an extension. If he does, it'll probably be for like 2 seasons, and then we'll see what happens after that. Now, Rome Odunze is not coming in here to be number 1 or 2 right away, and I'm sure he knows that, which is why I'm glad we didn't go with Marvin Harrison Jr., because I believe Marvin Harrison Jr. would have wanted to be an automatic starter, like 1 or 2, and he wouldn't have got that in Chicago. So, yeah, that's the wide receivers that we got. Our offensive line right now looks like this: Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Ryan Bates at center, Nate Davis, and Darnell Wright. To me, that looks like a pretty decent offensive line. That offensive line was good, and Ryan Bates wasn't even here last year. He got traded here this year. So, I mean, it was just the other 4 that were here last year, and they protected Fields pretty decent. A lot of people say that Fields, and I saw this in a lot of games, but he did not always. Now, did he have to rush at times? Yes. Did the line collapse sometimes? Yes, it did. But at the same time, you have to have a quarterback that's able to throw the ball quicker than what Justin Fields was doing, because he held the ball for a while, and everyone knows that. Even Justin Fields lovers who will not, like, and I love Justin Fields. I'm a Justin Fields lover. But I could still admit his flaws, and some of them can't. And one of his flaws is holding the ball too long. Now, at times he couldn't help it. But at the same time, a guy like Caleb Williams will let the ball go a lot quicker, and he's got more receivers to do that with now. So now we go into, obviously, quarterback. You got Caleb Williams, and then running back room, we got DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, and Roschon Johnson. This offense I'm looking at right now in front of me on the screen is a 10 win. If we have our defense the same way we did at the end of last season, and last year we only had Montez Sweat, and I believe we'll still get a defensive end. Will it be in the draft? Maybe in the 3rd round today, like later in today maybe. But at the same time, maybe we trade for another good defensive end. Maybe we trade a team. We give up one of our 2nd round picks for next year, and maybe our 4th round pick. Or maybe we give them a 2 and a 5. Or a 2 and a 6. Maybe we trade a player that we really don't need to go with it, to sweeten the deal. We'll see what the Bears end up doing. They got some choices to do and some options. All right, let's move on to the Bears' schedule. Now, we don't know which weeks they're going to play against what teams yet, but we do know what the Bears' schedule looks like because we know who they're going to play this year. So let's play a game called Which Teams Are We Going to Beat? All right, so here's the Bears' home and away opponents for next year. We'll start with the aways. Of course, Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota are all away teams. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Washington Commanders. So we will get to see the top 2 draft picks at quarterback playing each other. We'll see Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams next year in Washington. Our home teams for the 2024 season, of course, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, like always. And then we've got the Rams at home, Seattle Seahawks at home, the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, Tennessee Titans come here, Carolina Panthers, and the New England Patriots. So we will actually possibly see the top 3 quarterbacks that were drafted playing against each other this season. But that's if Drake May's a starter. I don't think he's going to be. I think they've already kind of reiterated that he will sit at least for a year or 2, and he will learn as opposed to playing. So here's the beatable away games. Detroit is a little iffy, okay, because we know Detroit's a lot better than they were. But we also know now the Bears are better, and we did beat them once last year. So there is a possibility that we could win. But I'm going to call the away game a loss to Detroit. Green Bay away, I think Green Bay wins against us at home. Minnesota we beat, so that's one win. Kirk Cousins no longer there. So I don't think that's going to be the same Minnesota team. I think they're going to be in the cellar of the NFC North for a while now. I think Kirk Cousins losing hurt them. Arizona Cardinals, even with Marvin Harrison Jr. there, Arizona's not good. We beat them on the road. San Francisco, they're a tough team. They're not easy to beat. That's going to be a draw. Now, I am going to do, once I know the final roster and how the season's played out, I will do my season prediction closer to the season. So in the midsummer, like around probably August area, like around like preseason, see, like watch a couple games, and then I'll do it like I did last year. This is just a preliminary, okay? Because we got to see who gets hurt in the preseason, how teams look. I mean, there's a lot that goes into picking who you think is going to win. This is just a preliminary. I think we could beat San Francisco, so that'd be 3 wins. Houston Texans, I don't think we're going to beat C.J. Stroud. He's really good. The Texans are a strong team. I take a loss there for now. Could change. Indianapolis Colts, that's a win. And Washington Commanders, I don't know. It's a little iffy now. Now they got a real quarterback there. It could happen, but I think the Bears could win that game. So that's 5 wins out of the away games. Out of home games, we beat the Lions at home. We beat the Packers at home. I say we still split with Minnesota. So that would, I say we split with Minnesota. I think they upset us at home. Teams like that usually do. Los Angeles Rams, I say would beat us. Seattle will win. That would be 8 wins. Jacksonville we'd beat. That's 9. I say we could beat Tennessee and Carolina. That'd be 11. And I think we beat New England. So as of right now, I'm setting our over-under at 12 wins. Which would give us 12 wins. There's 17 games, so 12-5. We'll see, though. It might change when the season comes up. I want to watch them in the preseason to kind of see what we have with Caleb Williams, because we know he's going to start in those games. But that's just my preliminary now. We'll see what happens. And don't jump down my throat. This is what people do. This is what we do when we have teams that play and we get excited about our home team. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go into a little NHL NBA playoff action. Obviously, we are knee-deep into the first round of both playoff series for all the teams in both sports. Let's see what each thing is going with the playoffs. Alright, so here's the NHL brackets right now in the first round. The Vegas Golden Knights are up 2-0 on the number 1 Dallas Stars. That's a shocker. But you know what? Vegas has always been a good team, including their first year in the league when they made it all the way to, the Stanley Cup and almost won it. Winnipeg and Colorado are tied 1-1. Oh, we are starting with the Western Conference. So Winnipeg and Colorado are tied up at 1 game apiece. So is Vancouver and Nashville, and so is Edmonton and the LA Kings are all tied at 1 apiece. So Vegas is the only team that right now has a 2-0 lead in their best of 7. It's best of 7, right? And then let's see for the Eastern Conference right now. The Florida Panthers are up 3-0 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Boston Bruins are up 2-1 over Toronto. New York Rangers are up 2-0 over Washington right now, and the Carolina Hurricanes are up 3-0 over the New York Islanders. So there's 4 possible sweep scenarios going on in the NHL right now. 2 very close ones. Carolina over New York Islanders, and then of course Florida over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those are 3-0 right now, 1 game away from elimination. So we'll see what happens there. So far, pretty decent time going on there. Let's look up now the NBA standings for the NBA playoffs and see where the NBA playoffs are right now. Crazy, because I can't believe that means summer is right around the corner, because usually the NHL and the NBA end on early June. So we're in the thicket of the NBA playoffs and everything. So that's crazy. So let's look at the brackets for the NBA really quick and see where we're at there. All right, so here we go. Celtics and Heat tied at 1 game apiece. Celtics had a 1-0 lead, and then, of course, the other night, the Heat came back and tied the series. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Magic at 4 and 5. Cleveland leads that series 2-1. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers at 3 and 6. The Bucks and Pacers are tied at 1 game apiece. I believe they play tonight. Let's see. The New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers, the 2 and 7 seeds. New York Knicks lead 2-1 in their series. And then let's see, for the West, the number 1 Oklahoma City Thunder lead the number 8 Pelicans 2-0 in their series. The number 4 Clippers and the number 5 Mavericks are tied at 1 game apiece in their series. The number 3 Minnesota Timberwolves have a 2-0 lead over the Phoenix Suns right now. And the defending, reigning world champions, the Denver Nuggets, at the number 2 seed, are up 3-0 on LeBron James and the LA Lakers. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see LeBron crying in the next game. I think that they're going to get swept. I think that the Denver Nuggets are definitely sweeping the Lakers in that series. I think LeBron is at that time where he really needs to contemplate retirement. And I know he still plays at a high level, but I mean, honestly, like, go out on top. You've won 4 championships. You're not going to tie Jordan. I don't even think you're going to tie Kobe. You might as well just retire. I mean, the only thing I can think of is he's just really waiting for his son to get to the NBA, and then he's going to go. So I think that he does go to wherever his son goes next year when he gets in the NBA draft. But I really see the Lakers wanting to keep LeBron until he retires, so I could see if no one else takes Bronny James, which, if you look at his stats, I don't think any team besides the Lakers would purposely take Bronny James. He's not that good. He's not his dad, at least not right now. Okay, here, let's look at his stats really quick, okay, in college. And now, you know, obviously, LeBron didn't go to college. He played in high school. But, yeah, if you look at Bronny James' career stats, and it's funny to say career stats, for the this is for last season, 4.8 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. Nothing about Bronny James, and he's only a freshman. He should be staying another couple years. He needs to get more seasoned before he joins the NBA. And I really believe if he could have went out of high school, he would have. I think that he ended up going to college because that's the new rule in the NBA is you have to go at least to, I believe, a year of college before you can go in the NBA. There's no more out of high school anymore. I can't believe Bronny James plays in the same school as Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams is an amazing quarterback. Bronny James is a shitty, really not good, anywhere near what his dad is type player. Here, let's look at LeBron James really quick, stats for high school. Let's see if we can see what his stats were in high school. Because I'm just curious where he was in his senior year of high school. Let's see. Wow. Vincent St. Mary is where LeBron James played. Their games were televised as often as possible because of LeBron. LeBron James averaged in high school, this was his high school average, 31.6 points a game, 9.6 rebounds, and 4.6 assists with 3.4 steals per game. His son can't even get 5 points a game in college. Look, not every son is going to be the player that their dad is. Okay? You got guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., who I believe is going to have the same or better career than his dad did, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. That's my thoughts right now going into seeing what he did in college. LeBronny James, I was going to say LeBronny James, is not going to be that guy. Okay? Unless he can take that 4.8 average and turn it around in the NBA. But think about the players he's going to play against in the NBA. He can't even do it in his freshman year in college. Imagine what's going to happen when he gets to the NBA. And I don't want to see him get embarrassed out of the NBA. Because that's not the type of person that I am, to want to see that happen to him. Let's look at Bronny's, really quick. Let's look at Bronny's high school stats and see if he was any better. See, he was better in high school. And this is why I think a lot of people thought he'd be a little better in the NBA. In his final season of high school basketball, he broke out averaging 14.2 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.4 assists with 1.8 steals per game. He was named to the McDonald's All-American game, finishing with 15 points, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. So see, he was better in his senior year of high school than he was in his freshman year of college. But like I said, I mean, if you can't make it in college, you're not going to make, especially in freshman year, you're not going to make it in the NBA right now. Now, had he stayed maybe and played all the way to junior year in college, maybe he'd be better. Because I've seen players in college start really bad as freshmen and then get better as they go through sophomore and junior and senior year, but he's not even going to take that chance. But there is a chance that no team will sign Bronny James right now. No one will draft him. And if that's the case and no one takes him, then LeBron's got to tell his son, like, look, you know, I wish we could have played together, but you need to stay in college. This is just proof that you need to stay in college and you need to play a couple seasons in college. So you play your sophomore year, your junior year, maybe even stay all the way to a senior and get better every year, and you will be drafted somewhere in the however many rounds is the NBA. You will get in. But I don't think he is going to be drafted. I really don't. I don't foresee that happening. But we'll see what happens. Maybe there's a team that'll take him in hopes that maybe LeBron will come play there and they'll just bench him. Like, he'll just be on the bench and stuff. But we'll see what happens. But I really don't think the kid should rush into the NBA right now. He's not ready. Averaging 4.8 in college is not ready for the NBA. And the only reason he would get in is because of what his name is. He's LeBron's son. You know, so yeah, obviously, I really, if I were him, I would not be joining the NBA this soon. I'd wait a couple more years, but that's just me, and that's what I would tell my son. And I get it, LeBron wants to play with his son for at least a year before he retires, and I know LeBron's already thinking about it. He's already brought up retirement and stuff, but sometimes slow down, kid. Maybe LeBron could retire for a few years and then Bronny comes back and he can sign back with whatever team. Guys do that all the time. Michael Jordan came out of retirement. Not at age 43 or 44. He was like 40 when he came back. And LeBron will be past that by that point, most likely. Because let's see, 3 more years. How old is LeBron now? Let's see how old LeBron is now. Because if he retired even after this season. So LeBron James' age. Got to type it all in here. Let's see. 39 now. So he's 39 years old now. So let's just say, and his birthday is December. So by next season, he would be 40. He'll most likely play his 40th season. That would be the sophomore year for Bronny. So let's say Bronny's like, okay, I'll play through my junior year, which will be 2 more years after that. LeBron will be like 42. He probably still could play. Not maybe at the level he is now. Tom Brady played till he was 45. Ric Flair wrestled in his 70s. I mean, look, sports guys could still go, just depending on how they are in shape. If they're in good enough shape. Sometimes you look bad. As long as LeBron James could put up, his goal is to play with his son for a year. So even if he comes back and signs a 1-year deal with whatever team drafts him, and puts up 15 to 20 a game in his 40s, which I'm sure he could still do in his 40s, put up 15 a game. There you go. Or have them be bench brothers. Have them coming off the bench together. LeBron, I'm sure, is not going to sign back to be on the bench, though. So, yeah, I don't think he's got that in him. So, yeah, so we are done with the sports segment of this show. Let's go into some entertainment news. I read that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher will not reprise their roles as Michael and Jackie Kelso in That 90s Show Season 2. Their reasoning was mostly because they feel their characters have already done what they needed to. They came back, they got a son. They don't need to be shown to have a son. Okay, they just don't. They were only in, one, maybe 2 episodes of the show. So, I mean, technically, yeah, they don't need to be there every episode anyway. So, yeah, you could still talk about the Kelsos, but not have them there. So, I believe that they don't need to be there. And I'm happy for them. They were in the original series. They came back for the first season of the revival. They had a couple of good episodes with them in it, funny ones. I believe Fez will come back, and then of course Donna and what was his name now? Why can't I think of his name? Donna and what was his name in the show? How did I have a brain fart on his show? He always called him a dumbass, his son. Why can't I think of his name? Well, you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure will reprise their roles in the second season because their daughter is the one who's staying with Red and Kitty. So yeah, I'm happy with where it's going, and Fez I'm sure will come back again because he's Fez and he wants to be seen, and stuff. He is on a TV show right now, so it might be hard for him to be there, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, so let's move on to movies really quick now. We're going to talk about movies from last week and where they were at the box office. Let's see what happened last week in the box office world. Alright, so here's the top 10 movies from last week at the box office. Number 10 was The First Omen. It was in its 3rd week of release. It did $1.8 million last week and for $18 million gross for 3 weeks. Number 9 was Monkey Man, did $2.3 million last weekend, and did $23 million total in 3 weeks. Dune Part 2 came in at number 8, did $2.9 million last week, with a total gross of $278 million in 8 weeks. Wow. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire came in number 7 last week with a weekend gross of $4.5 million. Total gross $104 million in 5 weeks. Not horrible. It did over the $100 million mark. Kung Fu Panda 4 came in number 6 at $4.7 million last weekend with a total gross of $181 million in 7 weeks. Number 5 was Spy times Family Code White. It did a weekend gross of $4.8 million for a total gross of $5.8 million in its first week. Looks like an anime film. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare came out, and that did $8.9 million last weekend with a total gross of $11 million. I'm guessing that's domestic and so like overseas and United States, because it did $8.9 million for a weekend gross, but a total gross of $11 million. So I'm guessing that's the U.S. would be the 8.9 and the total would be everywhere. And that was in week 1 of release. Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire, did $9.6 million last week at number 3. It's done $174 million in 4 weeks. It's crazy. It's only been out a week longer than the Ghostbusters, but it's already done more, way more than the Ghostbusters by a lot, like 70 million more, which Ghostbusters will not catch the Godzilla and Kong movie. Just because, let's see, hold on. Ghostbusters... Oh wait, Ghostbusters out a week longer. I thought it was a week before. It's a week longer than the Godzilla and Kong movie and did less. So yeah, they're not catching it. Godzilla and Kong I heard was good. I'll see it when it comes, probably on like a HBO Max or like a Netflix or wherever it goes, Paramount, any of those streaming services. Number 2 last weekend at the box office was Abigail. It did $10 million, $13 million gross in its first week. And then Civil War in week 2 did $11 million, coming in at number 1 again. Total gross of $45 million in 2 weeks. So not a bad start for Civil War. Movies aren't doing as great as they did. I mean, some are. I mean, Dune did amazing. $278 million in 8 weeks. That's pretty damn decent for a movie. Kung Fu Panda, $181 million for a kids movie at week 7 already. So Ghostbusters did pretty good, $104 million, and then of course Godzilla and Kong did $174. Civil War, I mean, it's got up and down ratings with people, so maybe that's why. But yeah, so go see a movie this weekend. There's some stuff out. Let me see. Dean Richards did his list. He only has one movie on there that I saw this week. It's called Challengers, and he gave it a B. So yeah, see Challengers, I guess, or go see one of those top 10 movies. Let's move on to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That is right. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced its final list of who will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this October. So let's see who those are going to be. So it is coming to you October 19th from the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. And here's the list of the nominees. I'm upset a little bit that Mariah Carey didn't get in, because she was my favorite on the list, but she'll get in another year. I'm sure next year I'll vote for her like 20 million times again, and hopefully next year she'll make it. But this year, it's still a really good crop, and I'm excited to watch. Mary J. Blige, Cher made it this year. The Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne, Ozzy baby, Tribe Called Quest. The Musical Excellence Award is going to go to Jimmy Buffett, MC5, Dionne Warwick, and Norman Whitfield. Musical Influence Award goes to Alexis Korner, John Mahal, and Big Mama Thornton. And the Amat Egerton Award goes to Suzanne de Passé. So those are the list of the Hall of Fame this year. I'm excited. I think it's a pretty decent list. I think Cher definitely belongs in there. Mary J. Blige, she's great. And here's everybody, Mary J. Blige isn't really rock and roll, and neither is Cher. She's pop. Pop, rock, R&B, rap is all the same. In fact, I can tell you now I'm an expert on this because I worked at Best Buy in a CD department, and they were all right by each other. Pop, rock, all that was together. So yes, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is not necessarily just rock and roll. It's a mix of everything. So stop what you're complaining. My God, there's so much more to complain about in the world than why did Mary J. Blige make it? Why is Cher a pop star in there? She's not just a pop star. Neither was Mariah Carey. They did a lot for music. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a music enshrinement for music. And yes, there is a country Hall of Fame. There is, I believe, a rap Hall of Fame. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the main Hall of Fame. And this is why everybody should be in there. I believe country stars should be in there. You know what? To get rid of it, how about this? Why don't we just rename it the Music Hall of Fame? Why has it got to even be the rock and roll? You know why? Because rock and roll pretty much started every type of music. Rock and roll just umbrellaed everything off after a while. Country music, rock music, rap, R&B, all that started. Elvis was considered an R&B artist. He did R&B soul. He also did some country stuff. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. I'm the expert that's going to teach you that right now. Elvis was not just rock and roll. But a lot of people won't know that. Nowadays, Elvis will be classified as pop. Pop music. Popular. Pop is popular. That's all it means. This is why pop, rock, R&B all goes into one category. Because it is all the same thing. Dolly Parton belongs in there because of what she's done for music. That's why she got in last year. Eminem has redid what rap music was, but he also added some rock to it. That's why he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dr. Dre produced millions of hits, and not just in rap music. He's been part of other stuff too. People don't understand this stuff, and this is why everyone gets mad. And I noticed the ones that get the most mad about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are white people. Older white men my age. And it's sad to say that because I'm only in my 40s, but it's true. We are older now. We're not young anymore. 20s, 30s are gone. Once you hit your 40s, you're starting to get older. But the thing is, the same snowflakes that call everybody else a snowflake, a lot of you grew up in a time where you said you were the toughest generation. We drank out of a water hose. We did. We used to jump around on our bikes. We did. We used to fall and we didn't cry. We did. But somewhere along the line of all that we did when we were kids, and as tough as we were as kids, and the fact that we did stupid crap and are still alive to talk about it, you all turned into what you said your parents were. Crybabies. Always mad about something. You're mad because a guy takes a knee for police brutality. You're mad because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame adds a black woman or a rapper. You're mad because I'm sure your parents were mad that there were black people in country music. But it happened. And some of them are better than some of those white people that do it. Just throwing this out there. Just taking a second, not to be political, because I don't give a crap about all that. In fact, you know, if you listened earlier in the show, I'm not a Trump guy, but guess what? I put Melania Trump in there for her birthday. You know why? Because I don't fault her. That's who she married. Everybody makes mistakes in life. It's okay. Melania is a very, very attractive woman. And the thing about Melania, she could have did better, but she wanted the money. That's why she's with Donald Trump. That's the reason every woman that ever went with him. He had some beautiful wives. He's a goober. And there's not one woman out there who does not believe he's a goober. There's not one male Trump supporter that does not think that Donald Trump's a goober. But the dude landed beautiful women because he's got money. He's a billionaire. This is what happens. Well, that's questionable, but he is at least a millionaire. Might not be a billionaire, but he's a millionaire. It's questionable what he has with everything. So, you know, you could say billionaire, but you better air quote that. But still, he's got a lot of money. And this is why he's had Marla Maples. Marla Maples was, I don't know now, I'd never really seen what she looks like now, but she was beautiful back then. She was on WrestleMania. I remember her and Donald on WrestleMania. And she was so beautiful. And then she walks in with him. I mean, look. Here's the thing. Stop being snowflakes about everything. Stop being offended because people get into somewhere that you don't feel they belong. You sound like those people who say, oh, he don't belong in this country club because he's black. You know who used to do that? Our parents did. That's what you sound like. We went from an understanding group of young people to the biggest snowflakes in the world. And all you guys claim you're tough. You're not tough anymore. You might have been back then, but you're soft as Charmin now. Just going to throw that out there. But yeah, so let's go on to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is done. We talked about that. Let's move on. I'm excited. I can't wait. October 19th, we are going to get to see the inductees get inducted officially into the Hall of Fame. Let's move on to our next topic. If you are a fan of Fortnite, like I am, I play all the time. In fact, I'll give you my gamer tag. I'll put it in the show notes down there. So if anybody wants to add me, they can. I love to play Fortnite. Billie Eilish is in the game now. It's amazing. I love Billie Eilish in there. It's really cool. She's part of the festival pass. But the big news is that coming May 3rd, which is next week, next Friday, is Star Wars. Star Wars is coming back to Fortnite again. I'm excited for it. Of course, next Saturday is May the 4th be with you. So Star Wars Day is Saturday, so they're releasing it a day early so people can have it. They haven't really released a lot about it yet. So we don't know, is it going to be a where you just go buy in the shop the characters, or do we also get a battle pass with it maybe, or something cool, you know, like that, where we get to buy, you know, for $9.50 or 1,000 V-Bucks, you get to buy it and you get like a character and then you have to unlock more. So we'll see how they do it. Could be like a quick thing for just, you know, May the 4th. Maybe they're going to do, you know, it for a couple of weeks or whatever and then get rid of it. But definitely look out for that. If you're a Star Wars fan and a Fortnite fan like I am, that's definitely going to be something cool. Next weekend is Backlash for WWE. By next Friday when I do my show, I'm going to do a show next Friday again like I did today. We should know pretty much the final card. Of course, SmackDown is the night before. So you can have a couple of matches added on from SmackDown, but the draft is also this week. So we'll have the WWE Draft news next week. We're going to talk about that, and the hopefully final Backlash card. I mean, we don't have a ton of matches right now. All I know is that we do have Damian Priest will defend his title. Cody Rhodes is defending his title against AJ Styles. Damian Priest will be facing somebody. Let's see if the Backlash has a card yet. It is next Saturday from France, not Paris, but it is in France. But let me see really quick if there is a Backlash match card yet. Because there's really not much going on right now for it. And you'd think by now there would be. Let's see. So we do have the big draft coming this week, so we could have some matches build from tonight and Monday night. But yeah, I don't really see a match card. Damian Priest and Jey Uso, and AJ Styles against Cody Rhodes for that title. That's pretty much it right now. I don't even see any women's championships yet. Bayley hasn't had a challenger yet. Maybe we'll start seeing that tonight. But let's go over really quick, we'll go over the WWE Draft rules. Just so people who watch wrestling know how the draft is working this year. Because it's a little different with the rules and stuff. So let's see. Rules, here we go. Alright, so the full list of rules for the 2024 WWE Draft. Number 1, champions on each brand will be protected and not eligible to be drafted. As a result, Damian Priest, Becky Lynch, Awesome Truth, and Sami Zayn will remain on Raw. Cody Rhodes, Bayley, A-Town Down Under, and Logan Paul will remain on SmackDown. So all the champions stay on their show. They cannot be drafted. Even though their status as champions allows them to go to both brands, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Asuka and Kairi Sane are eligible to be drafted. So the Women Tag Team Champions, because there's only one set of Women's Champions, they can float to both shows. And I believe NXT also once in a while. So yeah, they can do that. Number 3, Friday's SmackDown will feature 4 rounds of draft picks being announced. Each round will consist of the brands making 2 picks apiece for a total of 16 picks being announced. 8 for SmackDown and 8 for Raw. Monday's Raw will feature 6 rounds of draft picks being announced. Each round will consist of the brands making 2 picks apiece for a total of 24 picks. 12 for Raw and 12 for SmackDown. So there'll be 20 draft picks for each show. And the reason they're doing it different this year, Raw used to get more because it was 3 hours, but the champions are all staying, so they can't be drafted. So that's why. Now, I believe NXT will also be able to be drafted into this. Friday's SmackDown will also have the first pick on Friday. Raw will have the first pick on Monday. And rule number 6, rosters will go into effect Monday, May 6th, 2 days after Backlash in France. So we will not see this until the following Monday after Backlash is done, which is usually how they do it. Friday's available draft pool for tonight will be AJ Styles, Alba Fry and Isla Dawn, the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, Otis, I like to call him Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. So it looks like they're doing groups this time. They usually do where, Chad Gable could go. No, they're doing it in groups this time, so I kind of like that. Andrade, Bianca Belair, Braun Breaker, Cedric Alexander, and Ashanti the Adonis, Ivar, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Shayna Baszler, Sheamus, The Bloodline, which would be Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, MFT, Tama Tongo, and hold on. Who is MFT? Who's MFT? I want to know who this MFT is. Because they didn't say Jey Uso. He's got his own... Jimmy Uso. Wait, where's Jimmy Uso? Maybe they meant Jimmy Uso, because it's weird. But wait, they beat up Jimmy, right? Oh, they beat up Jimmy Uso, so yeah. He might not even be part of the bloodline anymore. I guess we'll find out what MFT is, because I don't even know what that is. The OC, Lou Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Mission, and Zoe Stark. NXT superstars will also be eligible to be drafted, which is any NXT star. Monday's available draft pool will be DIY, Apollo Crews, Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell. So they're doing tag teams, I think, too. CM Punk, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven. The Creed brothers, Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, and Ivy Nile. Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Kabuki Warriors. Drew McIntyre. The Final Testament of Karrion Kross, AOP, Scarlett, and Paul Ellering. Giovanni Vinci. Imperium, Gunther, and Ludwig Kaiser. I like how they broke them up already. Jade Cargill, Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Dominic, and JD McDonough. Now, the funny thing is, Judgment Day can still be drafted to another show. But Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest cannot be. So, I don't think Judgment Day will go to another show. I think they'll stay right now with Raw. But you never know. It could happen. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, Kevin Owens, Legado de Festama, that's Santos Escobar, Angel, Berto, and Elektra Lopez, LWO, Rey Mysterio, Carlito, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, Wakan Wild, and Zelina Vega. Naomi, Natalia, New Catch Republic, The New Day, Odyssey Jones, Pretty Deadly, Shinsuke Nakamura, Tegan Knox, The Pride, which is Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and BFAB, and Tiffany Stratton. NXT superstars are also available to be drafted on Monday night too. I didn't see Jimmy Uso in here at all. I saw Jey Uso's name. I don't see Jimmy, which is very, very, very strange to me that Jimmy Uso's name is not on any of these lists. But MFT, maybe that's Jimmy Uso. I don't know. So we'll see. Because he wasn't necessarily kicked out. Just Tonga and Solo Sequoia beat him up. But Roman Reigns technically still is the leader of the bloodline and never kicked him out. So I don't know. We'll see. Crazy times in the WWE, but these are the draft picks. These are the guys who can be picked, and I will have the full results next week. And we also talk about Backlash. We should have more matches lined up by then. Let me go into it. This is a shout out to my friend Danny Riggs. He picked the first week of me reviewing an album. And I'm going to do this once a week. I'm going to review an album, and I will not tell anybody what album I'm doing until the week of, and then I will tag you in the Facebook post. But he wanted Nirvana, Nevermind, which is funny, because I've listened to this album probably like 30 times in my life. I love Nirvana. Nirvana, this album, I always gave it a 5-star review. I've always loved Nirvana. Their music is amazing. And I did say that I would do the top 5 songs off of it. So the top 5 songs, to me, off of that album, number 5 is Smells Like Teen Spirit. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, that was the number 1 song on the album. It's still played everywhere. So are other songs. But I do love that song, but I don't think it's the number 1 song, to me anyway. Number 4 is Drain You. Number 3 is Polly. Number 2, Come As You Are. And number 1, my favorite song on the album was Lithium. So that is it. But I do give it a 5-star review. It was very sad that Kurt Cobain committed suicide. Rest in peace, Kurt. Who knows where he would have been had he still been alive right now. And he still probably would have been going. Just like all these other rock bands that are out there right now that are rocking into their 50s, 60s, and 70s. So, yeah, Nirvana still would have been out there. And everyone knows that. I mean, look, you had the Foo Fighters lead singer, David Grohl, was part of Nirvana at one point. And, the thing is, I believe that people they loved Kurt Cobain. He had an amazing voice. He had amazing lyrics. He just had a very, very sad... He was sad inside, obviously. I mean, and plus drugs didn't help, too. Drugs didn't help him. But, yeah, I mean, he is amazing to me. So, yeah, I give it a 5-star review. love Nirvana. I will pick next week's CD, and I'll let everybody know what album I'm going to listen to for next week. I did get some, and I'm going to post it again today, and I'm going to write down everybody. So now we got this one out of the way. It was good. I loved it. And thank you, Danny Riggs, for having me listen again, because, you know, we listen to so many albums in our lifetime of music, because we listen to music all the time, that sometimes we forget the classics, or we haven't listened in so many years to it. But yeah, no, I love Nirvana, and that was great. Moving on to our last thing of the day, our top 10, of course. Today, in honor of WWE, with Backlash coming up next week in France, huge premium live event next Saturday, and in honor of WWE doing their draft this weekend, which, you know what, I thought of this, I told my wife last night, it's funny that the WWE did their draft tonight, knowing that the NFL is also doing their draft yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So it's funny that they did it the same weekend, and I wonder if that was strategic by Triple H, because he knows people will still watch the SmackDown tonight to see what goes on that draft. A lot of people love the first round of the NFL draft. Not everybody watches the entire draft because it's so drawn out after the first round. I think after the first round, you'll see some sleeper guys that'll become big, but not as many as what you'll see come out of the first round. But yeah, so let's go into this. Now, this list that I'm doing, because of Roman Reigns finally losing his title to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, so Cody could finish the story. After the historic run by Roman, I was wondering, who are the top 10 longest reigns of WWE champions in the history of the company? So that's what we decided to do this week for the top 10. Usually I do a top 10 list of my own. This time I did one that was already pre-made. So let's do this one. The top 10 longest reigning WWE champions of all time. So here we go. Starting out at number 10, one of my favorites, the phenomenal AJ Styles, held the title for 371 days. His reign equaled Randy Savage. Macho Man Randy Savage had the same run. He won the champion at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view in 2017. He successfully defended against several top-tier wrestlers, including Kevin Owens, John Cena, and Shinsuke Nakamura. He finally lost the championship to Daniel Bryan at the 2018 Survivor Series. Number 9 on the list, the Macho Man Randy Savage, like I just said, had it for 371 days, the same amount of time as AJ Styles. Hall of Famer Randy Savage won a tournament to become WWE Champion at WrestleMania 4 in 1988. He endured his time in the spotlight and lasted longer than a cup of coffee. Macho Man reigned 371 days while simultaneously being part of the Mega Powers with Hulk Hogan. The split would eventually lead to a title showdown at the following Showcase the Immortals, when the Hulkster would end Savage's reign and begin his own. Savage's flamboyant demeanor and high-flying wrestling skills helped him become one of the most popular wrestlers of his period. So he lost to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5. Everybody remembers that. That was the Mega Powers collided, and so he held it for 371 days after winning it at WrestleMania 4. Number 8, John Cena, 381 days. Now, this was his longest run, but not his only run. John Cena is a Hollywood actor and, of course, a part-time wrestler who held the title for 381 days during the contemporary era. He captured the championship at the 2006 Unforgiven pay-per-view event and successfully defended it against top-tier stars, including Randy Orton, Edge, and Shawn Michaels. Cena's tenure was distinguished by his commitment to being a battling champion, as he defended on both the Raw and SmackDown. He lost the world title to Randy Orton at the 2007 SummerSlam, but he nevertheless established his place as one of the greats. Number 7, CM Punk, Chicago's own, held the title for 434 days. He had giving him the longest modern era reign. Now that obviously is not anymore. That was at that time. He won the championship at the 2011 Money in the Bank pay-per-view event and successfully retained it against a series of opponents before losing it to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the 2013 Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar is number 6. He held the title for 504 days. The Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar is a former WWE champion who held the title for 504 days during a single reign. Brock Lesnar, believe it or not, in all the years he's wrestled in WWE, has only held that title one time. That's right. At the time of this writing, which is current. So, 504 days for the one run he had. He won it on August 17, 2014, where he defeated John Cena at SummerSlam to win the belt. Lesnar successfully defended the title against various notable performers, including Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. Seth freaking Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and defeated Lesnar to win the title on WrestleMania 31. So that's how long he held the title. 504 days. So you're looking at 365 is a year. So he held it for a year and a half almost. Yeah, that's a long time. But not as long as number 5, Pedro Morales. 1,027 days. The mega exclusive 1,000-Day Club was founded by former WWE Hall of Famer Pedro Morales, who held the title from early 1971 until late 1973. Morales was a legendary figure in professional wrestling, holding the title for a record-breaking 1,027 days, making him the longest reigning champion in existence until 1985. On February 8th, 1971, Pedro Morales won his first WWE Championship by defeating Ivan Koloff. He would keep the title for an unprecedented amount of days, successfully defending it against the likes of Stan Stasiak, Bruno Sammartino, and Killer Kowalski. Wow. Number 4 on the list. Everybody knows who that is. The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. 1,316 days. He was the current undisputed champion and has demolished every opponent who has tried to dethrone him over the past 1,300 days. He held the title, defeating John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Edge, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and others. In August of 2020, the Tribal Chief won the Universal Championship. At the last minute, he entered Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman's no-hold-barred match at Payback. With his heel turn, the Tribal Chief was crowned champion and has retained it ever since. After defeating Brock Lesnar on Night 2 of WrestleMania last year, Roman Reigns earned the WWE Championship, which is the one we're talking about. He has faced Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and others for the undisputed title. Cody Rhodes ended the greatest title reign in WWE history by defeating Roman for the title at WrestleMania 40. WWE said, 1,316 days, what a ride it was. Acknowledged Roman Reigns. Number 3 on the list, everyone knows and loves this. Well, not everyone loves him. I do, but not everybody does. Number 3, Hulk Hogan. He held the title for 1,474 days. Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan initially won the title in January of 1984 and held it for 1,474 days, the longest reign in WWE history. After defeating the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden, Hogan started a 4-year reign that, like Cena's, ended due to a strange coincidence. In this case, a sloppy loss to Andre the Giant that was almost immediately overturned by Jack Tunney because the official, who'd been hired by Ted DiBiase, counted 3 even though Hogan had raised his shoulders to break the pinfall. Hogan was well known for his charm, larger-than-life personality, and iconic Hulkamania catchphrase. Number 2 on this list held the title for 2,134 days, or 35 days, Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund reigned over the WWE Championship for a total of 2,138 days. His first rule lasted from February of 1978 to December of 1983, while his second reign began in November of 94 and ended in November of 95. He was also recognized for his rigorous training schedule and devotion to the sport. The WWE Hall of Famer was noted for his technical wrestling abilities and his iconic cross-face chicken wing submission technique. And number 1 on this list, I don't think will ever be beat. It was Bruno Sammartino. 2,803 days as WWE Champion. Bruno Sammartino sold out Madison Square Garden multiple times for a reason. He is widely regarded as one of the best WWE champions ever. The WWE veteran held the title for a total of 4,040 days, which equates to more than 11 years in 2 separate reigns. He only held the title twice, but he held it for over 11 years total. His first rule lasted more than 2,803 days, from May of 1963 to January of 1961. His second reign lasted more than 1,237 days, from December of 1973 to April of 1977. Sammartino's reigns were distinguished by his extraordinary power, durability, and ability to bring enormous crowds to his matches. He was a well-liked character in the professional wrestling community, and his legacy continues to this day. So that's my top 10 list of the top 10 longest reigning WWE champions of all time. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. The weather is getting better. We are definitely in the thicket of spring. We have a lot of rain coming, but we also have a lot of warmer weather coming. It's going to be beautiful. Join me here next week. I will be talking about the WWE Draft and who ended up there. We'll also talk a little about the last 6 rounds of the NFL Draft. Next week we'll talk about the WWE Backlash pay-per-view, which is next Saturday in France. We'll talk about the NBA, who went on to the second round, and where we stand in the NBA and NHL. And then, of course, some fun entertainment news. I will also review another album by somebody else who requested it, and we will find out what album that is next week. I'll give my rating and my top 5 favorite songs, and then of course my top 10 list. So join me next week. Everybody have a great weekend. We are going to have some fun this weekend. I'm still off until I don't go back to work until Monday, so I still got today, tomorrow, and Sunday off, and I'm going to enjoy the weekend. So I hope everybody else does as well. I love you all. I will see everybody next week. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't die. And like I said, I love you all. Goodbye and peace out.